Hello and welcome to Up South, your window to all the top news of the day from South India. I'm T.S. Sudhir. Now, India and Andhra Pradesh woke up to some terrible news this morning when an explosion took place at the Gas Authority of India Limited pipeline in East Godavari district of Andhra Pradesh. This happened in Nagaram village and that left 15 dead and many others injured who were admitted to 3 hospitals in the East Godavari district with severe burn injuries. A probe has now been ordered into this mishap. In fact, now the fire has been brought under control. It took 8 fire tenders to actually bring it under control. But now the fear is that of several hundreds of coconut trees which are there and they could come crashing down. In fact, locals have been advised not to go to that accident site, and a probe will now be ordered both by the Andhra Pradesh government as well as by the Gas Authority of India Limited. In fact, this is what Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu and Andhra Pradesh Finance Minister Yanamala Ramakrishnudu, who hails from the East Godavari district, had to say about the mishap.
అయితే దురదృష్టం దాదాపు 14 మంది వరకు కూడా చనిపోయారు. 20 మంది వరకు కూడా హాస్పిటల్లో ఉన్నారనేటువంటి ప్రాథమిక సమాచారం. అదేవిధంగా అక్కడ ఉండేటువంటి ప్రజలందరూ కూడా ఉద్రేకంగా ఉన్నారు. ఎంచేతంటే ఎప్పటి నుంచో అక్కడ స్మెల్ వస్తుందని, అదేవిధంగా పైప్ లైన్స్ అన్ని కూడా రస్ట్ పట్టాయనేటువంటిది సమాచారం ఇచ్చినప్పుడు కూడా గెయిల్ అథారిటీస్ సరిగ్గా పట్టించుకోలేదనేటువంటి ఆ భావంలో అక్కడ ప్రజలందరూ కూడా ఉద్రేకంగా ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళందరితో కూడా మా హోంమంత్రి గారు, జిల్లా అధికారులందరూ కూడా మాట్లాడుతున్నారు.
We are discussing 14 persons were killed, were died, and also 4 are seriously injured, and 10 were injured. They are in hospital. Immediately I cancelled all my programs. I am rushing to the spot. Even Petroleum Minister and other officers also, they are coming. We will go through all the details, how it happened. Ultimately, safety is important. Wealth creation and development also important, but at the same time we have to protect the lives of the people. So we want to take some actions on that.
सुबह लगभग 5:30 तक ईस्ट गोदावरी जिले में ताटीपाका के पास जो गैस गैदरिंग स्टेशन है, उससे जो आगे पाइपलाइन जाती थी, उसमें एक ब्लास्ट हुई है, ब्रस्ट हुई है पाइपलाइन। जो प्राथमिक सूचनाएं हम लोग इकट्ठा कर पाए हैं आंध्र सरकार से, स्थानीय प्रशासन से और हमारी गेल ओएनजीसी जो संस्थाएं वहाँ काम पे लगे हैं, उनसे जो जानकारी ले पाए हैं, लोगों की हताहत की खबर आई है। कुछ लोग गंभीर स्थिति में स्थानीय अमलापुरम अस्पताल में भर्ती हुए हैं।
Joining me now on the phone line is Pratibha Raman. Pratibha, what is the update on the situation? What is the condition of those who are admitted to those 3 hospitals in the East Godavari district?
Well, most of the people who have been admitted into hospitals have been complaining at least of 70% burns, but then the fact remains that prima facie evidence suggests that people have already complained about the status of these pipes. In fact, even the finance minister has corroborated the fact that the pipes could have been rusted and perhaps that could have been the cause. But then the actual cause of it will be determined only after the final probe is done. Now that Mr. Chandrababu Naidu has asked for a detailed probe, we'll have to wait and see what is exactly the cause of this. But in the meantime, 10 acres of land has been destroyed, especially with the coconut trees. But seeing the enormity of this fire as well as the 70% burns of the people there, only after the probe that final action will be taken.
Right. In fact, the major serious concern is about the quality of those burn swaths at least 2 of those 3 hospitals. But Pratibha, you pointed out to the fact what Finance Minister Yanamala Ramakrishnudu, who actually hails from East Godavari district, said. Also, a senior police officer of the IG rank has pointed to the fact that there was smell emanating from those gas pipelines. Did the Gas Authority of India Limited actually ignore some of those warnings coming from those villages in Nagaram village?
That's right. Usually, looking at the circumstantial evidence that has been collected so far, it does prove the fact that the GAIL authorities have neglected the complaints raised by people in and around there, saying that they've already said that these pipes are rusted and these pipes are not of quality. The GAIL authorities should have taken this into consideration then and there. But the fact that it has been ignored perhaps has now given rise to the fact that it's been a late wake-up call.
Right. Pratibha Raman, thanks a lot for getting us that information. Fortunately, the fire has been extinguished, and now, of course, a detailed probe will establish what really led to this mishap, which left 15 people, 15 villagers in Nagaram village dead. Thanks a lot, Pratibha, for joining us there. Now, this is a story that is going to disturb you irrespective of whether you are an animal lover or not. The Madurai bench of the Madras High Court dismissed all petitions that argued in favor of continuing with the traditional Jallikattu event in southern Tamil Nadu. But if you thought that the bulls are now going to lead a good life, you are mistaken, because many of those fiery bulls are now being sent away to the slaughterhouses in Kerala. Shisha Reddy sent us this very shocking report.
For years, the sport of Jallikattu raised the hackles of animal rights activists. Now, an order from the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court which banned the event has quite literally proved to be the final nail in the coffin for the bulls. The owner of these animals has now planned to sell them to a slaughterhouse in Kerala.
தமிழுடைய வீர விளையாட்டில் வந்து கம்பு சண்டை கத்தி சண்டை கல் தூக்கி போடுறது இதுகளெல்லாம் முக்கியமானது வந்து கபடி விளையாட்டை காட்டிலையும் ஜல்லியாட்டு மாடு தான் முக்கியமாக. அந்த காலத்தெல்லாம் வந்து எங்கள் ஊர்களில் வந்து பொண்ணு கட்டணும்டாக்க ஜல்லியாட்டு மாடு அணக்கினாதான் பொண்ணே கொடுப்பா. அப்படி பாரம்பரிய மிக்க விளையாட்டு. இதை வந்து தமிழக அரசு உச்சநீதிமன்றம் வந்து தடை விதிக்கிறாங்க.
Animal rights activists are shocked by the decision of the bull owners. They say it's ironic that the same owners who call these bulls members of their family are now talking of selling them to slaughterhouses.
They should approach the government and tell the government to take in these bulls, have integrated cattle shelters, link it with organic agriculture, bring down our dependence on chemical fertilizers. That is one possible way to go. Or hand it over to some of the religious mutts here. We will take care of them.
While the state government is silent, the former Chief Minister Karunanidhi has urged Jayalalitha to file a review petition to ensure that the sport continues.
I don't know why the government is thinking the Supreme Court has thought of to ban that, or why the government was not interested in fighting the case in the Supreme Court. It's just a game.
After being faithful to the ungrateful mankind, these bulls are being sold for a few $1,000s to the slaughter industry. While the animal rights activists see this as a landmark victory, bull tamers refuse to accept Jallikattu's cruelty and continue to say a review petition at the Supreme Court is the only way to keep the tradition alive. With camera person Daniel Srisha Reddy in Chennai for Headlines Today.
Joining me now for a perspective from Chennai is Dr. Chinni Krishna, Vice Chairman of the Animal Welfare Board of India. Dr. Krishna, your mission was obviously very noble, but what you have effectively done is to transfer the bulls from the frying pan into the fire.
No, they were actually in the fire in the first place, because the amount of torture, it's probably death to most of those bulls is much more preferable to the kind of continued torture that they underwent. Let's face one thing, every time Jallikattu bull lost a fight, it was one step closer to being sold to the slaughterhouse. Every Jallikattu bull that begins to lose is ultimately sold to the slaughterhouse. So the most sad part is that these people claim that they look after it like their own children. If they look after, is this what they would do to their children? Send them to the slaughterhouse when they stop giving them food or stop being a breadwinner for the family?
So, Dr. Krishna, what next? What do animal rights activists like you propose to do now?
Well, actually, a lot of extra bulls are not being sold to the slaughterhouses. Some of them are being sold. There is absolutely no doubt about it. But as I said, the proportion is more or less the same as what it was before. The very sad part is really that these animals are the males that are automatically sold to the slaughterhouse in any case. Out of maybe 5 or 6 males that are born to the Kangayam bulls, only one is actually selected ultimately for Jallikattu. The other 4 were sold to the slaughterhouse in any case. Now, what we would certainly like to do is to ensure that the local breeds of animals, cattle, continue and do not get extinct.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Chinni Krishna, for joining us with that perspective from Chennai. We'll continue to track this Jallikattu story very, very closely. Now, haven't all of us had problems with errant auto drivers? Rohini Swami reports on the ordeal of a lady commuter with one such auto driver in Bangalore.
In a shocking case of harassment, an auto driver in Bangalore threatened and assaulted a lady when she asked him why he was charging exorbitant rates for a short distance. The auto driver demanded 150 rupees for a short distance of 2 kilometers. When questioned, he not only verbally abused her but pushed her aside.
I took a photo of his auto plate number, and after I did that, he got really angry with me. He started grabbing my shoulders, he started taking photos of me, threatening me, telling me that he knows what I look like now. Threatening any other auto driver to take me. He started insulting me in Kannada and kept saying delete photo.
This wasn't the end of her ordeal. After managing to go away with the help of her friend, she decided to lodge a police complaint. The traffic police filed an FIR, but when she went to the regular police station, she was told that if she filed an FIR, the auto union would hound her.
A senior officer told me, if you file an FIR, the auto union will come after you, which is completely irrational thing to say because he's the police officer. It's their responsibility to take care of citizens.
After much hue and cry on the social media, finally the police relented and a case was filed in the Ashoknagar police station. But for a lady who is not conversant with the local language and after being rebuked for not knowing Kannada by cops, she stood up for her rights.
So I want to ensure that this becomes like an example for people, for the auto drivers. And if in the process of doing that, the police can also learn better how to treat harassment victims, that would be something that I'm looking for.
Meanwhile, Bangalore Traffic Commissioner has said that adequate action will be taken against the errant driver.
No, the physical assault part, I won't be able to tell what action has been taken, but then we will definitely work with the law and order police and we will take action on the concerned person, ensure that action is taken. But these kind of... Because it is the registered case will be registered in the law and order police station. So that is...
Brand Ambassador for Bangalore Traffic Police, Rahul Dravid too feels that there should be a system in place for the security of women.
Protection and safety of women is incredibly important and very, very important, and should be done.
But very clearly the police need to step up, they need to take action, they need to file an FIR in her case and specifically sensitize the auto drivers that charging ridiculous amounts of money, especially for commuters, is something which is a complete no-no. But more importantly, safety of the people first. And that is what not only the police need to do, also the auto rickshaw drivers, because at the end of the day, it's public conveyance and people need to be sure and need to feel secure when they're traveling in it. With Cameron Madhu, Rohini Swami in Bangalore for Headlines Today.
And finally, believe it or not, a 20-year-old bus shelter has been stolen in Bangalore. Yes, you heard me right, stolen in Bangalore. And the authorities have now asked the police to find the missing bus stop.
It was the 1st of May, but for residents who frequented Bangalore's BEML bus stop, it felt like the 1st of April, All Fool's Day. Who moved my bus stop, they asked, as they arrived there in the morning. It had gone missing overnight and no one knows who took it. The police think it was someone with a cunning plan.
A bus stand in RR Nagar was stolen in the night. This complaint was registered by BBMP engineer. They alleged that in the night of 8th, one bus shelter was cut and taken away. It was a structure, it was a steel structure over there. It has been taken away by somebody. So police registered a case.
Meanwhile, it's the residents who are not amused.
Even I know that one. But what has happened afterwards? Who has taken, on whom they have booked the case? Whom they have booked the case? We don't know, no? For I watch the FIR police, they will pick someone and they'll book a case and they will release afterwards. What has happened to this property? This is government property.
Yesterday night में shelter था, लेकिन next सुबह देखे तो shelter नहीं है. Actually मैं देखा सुबह आया तो यहाँ तो लिखी थी BBMP lifted this bus stop to somewhere. हमें क्या सोचा ये BBMP वाला ही किया. By chance अब BBMP वाला बोल रहा है हम नहीं किया.
It's a curious case of a bus stand going missing overnight. On one hand, the residents of this place say that they saw the bus stand being removed by the BBMP, that is the Bruhat Bangalore Mahanagar Palike. On the other hand, the BBMP authority is saying they have no clue. Instead, they filed an FIR of a missing bus station. With Cameron Shimoti, Rohini Swami in Bangalore for Headlines Today.